friends, and welcome to episode 11 of Vlogmas. This video I want to be reading focused because we are 2 days from Christmas and it is the weekend. I am trying to get all of my Christmas prep done, but that does not mean we have to sacrifice reading. So I really want to try and get as much reading done in this episode as I can, while also trying to get around for Christmas and all of that fun stuff. Today has been a very slow, chill, restful day, and I'm so thankful after the crazy week that I've had between work and suffering from a migraine and just trying to keep up with life beyond all the other things going on, such as Vlogmas and holiday festivities. So I've been really just trying to keep it low key, and that's why I want to focus on reading and share with you guys what I've been reading and what I'm hoping to read in this video. So currently I am reading The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan, and I mentioned this in my last episode of Vlogmas that it's just been giving me all the heartwarming feels that I need right now, and I will talk more about this as we continue reading. The other book that will round out my holiday reading list is A Page Marked for Murder by Lauren Elliott, a little cozy mystery that I don't know, I'm really loving The Christmas Bookshop, but maybe we'll also start reading this tonight just to get it moving, and I definitely want to finish this one by tomorrow, and then I can just focus on this when I go to my parents. So tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and George and I are gonna open our presents together in the morning, and then we have a drive to my parents' house in the afternoon, and we'll be staying there till the 26th. So we'll be spending the full day of Christmas with my parents, which will be really, really nice to see them and my nieces and my brother and my sister-in-law and just all those, you know, traditional cozy family things. Outside of reading, we have a to-do list, of course. It never ends during this time of year. So I need to finish wrapping gifts. I wanted to finish wrapping gifts yesterday in my last episode of Vlogmas, and I did get really far, and it ended up being 11 o'clock when I finished, and I was exhausted, but I'm so glad that I have the majority of stuff wrapped. So tonight I can finish wrapping a few lingering gifts, and then I need to make some greeting cards that I'm giving one to my mom and my dad. I want to give one to my brother and his family. I think I have one already printed for my friend, and I think that's it. So I really just need 3 greeting cards and maybe just a few extra in the event I need a, last minute card to give away. So we need to do that. I think right now I'm just going to focus on reading and get a good little reading sprint in because it is 4:13. I am trying to tag team reading sprints with my friend Amanda. We've been chatting all day, and she's been trying to figure out what book she wants to read, and she figured it out. So I think our schedules are slowly lining up so we can do a sprint together. So I can either do a 30-minute sprint, a 45-minute sprint, or an hour sprint. And then after that, I want to go start working on stuff in Sheila's workshop. So I don't know, an hour seems amazing, but also long. I don't know. I did get a good chunk of reading in this morning. Yeah, but I really want to get through a good chunk of A Christmas Bookshop and possibly start A Page Marked for Murder. So I don't know. We have options, guys. We have options. Also, I put a new print up. This is probably not the best angle for you guys to see it. I've been trying to build out a gallery wall out in the living room, and it's been a very, very slow process because I am not a home decor queen by any means, and it actually takes a lot of energy out of me to figure out where things go and what I want to put in them. So I've actually had these 3 items up on the wall for weeks, it seems like, and I didn't have any prints. I didn't have a print in this one, and it looks so awkward. I've been avoiding filming this wall just because of how it looks. So I was all right, I need to figure out something because I want to film out in my living room for the end of Vlogmas. So I put this print in it with a really cheap matte situation. So literally it's just a piece of cardstock, and then I put this print by Morgan Long on top of it. So it's not matted at all. It's just literally a print on top of white cardstock, and I just put washi tape on it so it would stay, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. I actually kind of like it like that, and it does the job, and it's better than having no frame at all. And then it complements this print by Cheyenne Barton. I just love the colors and everything about that. And this is actually very Christmassy, wintry too, so it's a nice little addition. And my Welcome Friends little sign that I found at the thrift store many months ago. So I'd like to put more frames up on here, obviously, but again, it's gonna be a slow process. So I think I'm gonna make a cup of tea, cozy up, and then start my reading sprint at 4:30 and see how far we get from there. So let's go. It is 5:35. It's been about an hour of reading. I read 60 pages. We are officially under 100 pages away from finishing, and that's super exciting. Now I'm going to do some YouTube admin, Vlogmas admin, to get caught up. I have to get my episode 10 edited and up. It's nearly done. I just need to get it finished and get that up, and then figure out dinner because it's that time, and then we're gonna go to Sheila's workshop for a little bit to get crafty. So onward. morning, friends. It's the next day. I've been sneakily trying to catch up on reading this morning, and last night I started A Page Marked for Murder by Lauren Elliott, and got about 40 pages in last night, and then this morning I've read about 60 pages, and then once I got that far, I had the realization that this is not a Christmas book. And even when I made my December TBR video and I read the back of it, I mean, the first thing the summary says on the back is January. So this is like a winter focused book that takes place in January, and I just got swooped up thinking it was a Christmas book. So now I'm kind of like thinking, okay, do I continue reading this alongside the Christmas bookshop, which I have about 80 pages left of the Christmas bookshop, and I'm planning to read that later and tomorrow. I wanted to start this so I would have the two books, and I feel like I'm gonna like the Christmas bookshop a lot more, so I didn't want to be like disappointed reading that and finishing that book and then starting this one. So we're reading two books at once, but now I'm thinking, do I just start another actual cozy Christmas read, which I have on my bookshelf. If you remember, again, for my TBR video, I had a menu of books that were kind of backup plans. So I think I'm gonna start reading one of the stories in this Candy Cane Murder. So this has 3 different murder mystery stories, all revolving all around candy canes. So we know this is actually Christmas focused. So I think I might switch to this, maybe abandon this until like after the holidays. I have been enjoying this book. Actually, at first it was kind of hard to get into the story because there's so many different characters and it's in a small town, and I think that's the whole point of a mystery, is you introduce all these different characters. It's very Agatha Christie. You introduce all of these different characters and it's up to you to kind of figure out who did it. So I am on page 122. We discovered the body. Our sleuth is on the case, and it's been fun so far. And then I realized it wasn't Christmas focused, and I got kind of sad. So I might return to this after the holidays. And I just started reading the first few pages of Candy Cane Murder, and it's giving me those Christmas vibes because we're already talking about dressing like an elf. So I think this is the vibe that we need. Books aside, it's time for George and I to open our Christmas presents, and then we have to get around and go to my parents and do all that fun family traveling stuff. And we're also gonna pop over to see George's mom before we leave and give her her gift. So I had my quiet little reading morning, and now it's time to transition into the Christmas festivities. I've put on my Christmas jammies, and it's time to get festive. What is it?
What the?
Ooh. Surprise, surprise. It's One Piece Hobonichi cover. I'm only like 50 pages in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's definitely Christmassy and cozy and murderous. We just got to the part where they found the body. And Candy Cane Murder, when a trail of candy canes leads to a corpse outfitted in a Santa suit on a snowy bank, Hannah Swenson sets out to discover who killed Kris Kringle. So basically, Hannah, our main character, is trying to figure out who killed Santa, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And actually the writing is really good. I've never read anything by Joanne Fluke. I know she's a prolific writer, and I'm really enjoying the writing. It's definitely better than this book in terms of like the dialogue and just the prose. So I think I'm definitely taking this to my parents to read along with the Christmas bookshop, and then those will be my 2 Christmas reads to read through Christmas and after Christmas until I finish everything. So we need to get ready to head out, and I'll probably check in with you guys when we get to my parents. been a few days, friends. I am back at home. Christmas has passed. I didn't want this video to go this long in terms of filming and getting it up, and that's just the roll of the punches, I guess, with going home and seeing my parents and family. And I think what I need to do next year is to not be so ambitious with how many books I think I can read when I'm like away visiting family, because I really did not have a lot of like brain space to read while I visited my parents, and mainly because there was just so much talking and people and a lot of stimulation, and that's a good thing. Like I realized like I want to spend time with my family. I want to do this. This is what the holidays is about, and that was just kind of information for me that I'd like to take into next year and maybe just kind of wrap up any kind of reading and lower my expectations by Christmas, and maybe have like one book on reserve that's short and sweet and I can just kind of read it throughout the day. So that's all to preface to say that I do have reading updates for you guys, because I did manage to read at least 2 of these 3 books, which I think is great. And all this to say that I did have to finish these 2 books like the day after Christmas, so they were not all done before or by Christmas, but that's okay because the Christmas cheer still carries on through the end of the year. So when I last talked to you guys, I think I realized this wasn't a Christmas book, so I quickly abandoned this book, and we'll come back to it probably, you know, after the end of December when we get into January, because I do want to finish it. And the other thing I'll say about this book is that I didn't realize it's part of a series. I don't think it's like a series where you need to read every single book in a row. I just think it's one of those series where if you read them in order, you can point out all the Easter eggs and just understand the story more. So I think this book was the 5th one of this Beyond the Page bookstore mystery series, and I want to read the first one because I feel like that will just help me have more context and maybe enjoy the story a bit more, because I just feel like I was thrown into our main character Addie's world, and I've already missed so much backstory about, you know, where she is, why she came to be, who she is. She is the town sleuth, and I missed kind of those early like investigations. So I don't know if you guys have read this or any kind of similar cozy mystery series where it's like multiple books, and like it would make sense to read them in order. But let me know what you guys have thought, or if you've read this book. So I'll be returning to this book, The Christmas Bookshop. I finished yesterday morning, and I just really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. There were some things that were not perfect about it, and overall I think it was just a very heartwarming, wholesome read. I think that's the one thing about Jenny Colgan's books, is that it touched on so many different themes. Obviously, like the Christmas bookstore, saving the bookstore was the whole like plot and trope, I guess, but there were also instances of the main character building a relationship with her sister and her family, because she's kind of a misfit, and her family like is like, what are you doing with your life? And she was down and out with a job, which is why she got placed at the bookstore. And you kind of really see her character grow into, you know, who she wants to be, and develops relationships with her sister and her sister's kids. So there's also like a big family dynamic, which was fun to read as well. And then of course with the romance, this being my second this being my second Jenny Colgan romance, I feel like her books are a very like slow, not so, I don't know how to describe it. It's like the relationship building was very slow and very wholesome. So like throughout the whole book, there's not a lot of spice. There's not a lot of like relationship building in terms of like a romantic relationship, but it is very cute and heartwarming to kind of watch and read her story around, you know, the characters that she's interested in. I also really love that there was a little twist with the love interest in this book, which I won't go into because I want to save that for anybody that wants to read this or is still reading it. So yeah, and of course I love the city description and the fact that it takes place in Edinburgh, and the way the writing took us around the city, like it was just great how Colgan weaved that into the story. So I feel like this is a great book for this time of the year or any time of the year, and I'd love to read another Jenny Colgan book after this. I'm glad I actually read it and didn't go with an audiobook option, because I definitely prefer to read her books than listen to her books. And then the last book I started reading last minute when I realized my other book was not Christmas related is Candy Cane Murder by Joanna Fluke. So this book has multiple stories in it, and I just read Candy Cane Murder, which is the first story, and it was about 170 pages. So it was very, very quick, only 13 chapters, and it was also cute that there were little recipes throughout the book. So this is probably a Joanna Fluke kind of thing. This is my first book by her, so I don't know, but she weaves like candy and baking and like all the holiday like goodness with murder so well. So I really enjoyed how she put all of those elements together, with Hannah being our main character, sleuth, and she finds Santa dead, and there's a trail of candy canes leading it to the Santa. So I just thought that's so cute and creative, and it was weaved throughout all the story. And each chapter, they pretty much always mention some kind of baked good, whether it's cookie, pie, candy canes, and there'd be a little recipe at the end. So I finished this morning actually, because I tried reading a lot of this on Christmas Day, but with like family and everything going on, it was just really hard to concentrate. So I didn't get a lot of reading done like at my parents', like I said, but I was able to finish it, and I'm glad I finished it, because Christmas was over and I was like, oh, I'm just kind of ready to move on, like, that I wanted to finish this book at least, because I don't know, you know me, stubborn, I gotta finish a book if I'm reading it, and I'm also vlogging it for you guys, so I feel like I owe that to you guys as well. So I'm really glad I went for the short option, because next year I'm gonna kind of go, I'd like to read the rest of the stories in this book, maybe just pick one and then have one for the next few years. But yeah, I really liked Joanna Fluke's writing in comparison to the other cozy mystery I was reading. I definitely prefer Joanna Fluke, and I would love to read more of her books. The other thing I'll mention is that this was written, I think, in 2007, and there are some like dated just interactions in terms of like the characters and how they like deal with themes of like sexuality and like gender and like weight and appearance and things like that are just like we've come farther than that as a society in 2023. And as somebody who lived through the early 2000s, you can just really see the early 2000s influence on like beauty standards, and especially since there's like the cookie aspect of it. So that was something I was just like saw, and you know, it's a book of its time, and beyond that it's just one little nitpicky thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 3 or 3.5 stars. We'll see how that mulls over, but on Goodreads I think I'm just gonna leave it at a 3-star, because I don't feel like going back and saying it's a 3.5. All right friends, that ends this video, and actually this ends Vlogmas. I know it's only episode 11, and I'm just gonna have to say this is the end of Vlogmas and not try and push myself to make episode 12 and just kind of move on and start fresh with videos and what I have to come in the new year and the end of the year. So just thank you guys so much for being here. I really hoped you enjoyed Vlogmas this year and it brought you some comfort, joy, and peace to your home. I know, again, this time of the year is stressful and chaotic, and I hope that you found some comfort and peace in the midst of the chaos. And now that Christmas is over, you have time to rest and prepare for the new year or whatever you would like to focus on in the new year. I just want to thank you guys so much for your support and encouragement over this past month and really this past year, because there's been a lot of just thinking and observing and information collecting over the past year in terms of YouTube and my art goals and just like what I want to focus on. So I'm really keen to start doing my 2024 planning, which I'm actually going to start doing after I record this and get this video edited. And yeah, just want to say thank you guys. I'm so grateful for you. I cannot say how grateful I am. So I'm just going to end it with with that, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.